What is up, guys? VULKan here, and today I will be going over not that deck. This is a deck that I stole from Tally. It works very well. This deck works very well. That deck works very well. That deck works very well. But today I am going over this Xbow deck. So a lot of people have requested Xbow, and also a lot of people have been requesting free-to-play decks. And this deck has the Executioner, the Guards, the Xbow, and the Log, which are all kind of hard to level up. But to be honest, if you don't have the Log by now, you're probably living under a rock, or you're pretty new to the game. And it doesn't have any of the newer legendary, which are hard to get. But before I explain this deck, I would like to mention that I got myself a new mouse, which does not make sound when you click it. So you won't have to listen to the annoying clicking in my videos anymore. And also, a lot of people ask, what do I play this game on? So currently, I like to record my videos on Nox Emulator, and I do play a lot of my games on Nox Emulator, but I also play on my phone. It doesn't really matter what device you play on. The more technical moves and like hard to do, like troop positioning and stuff, can pretty much be done on any device. But so I wouldn't worry about, am I playing on the computer, am I playing on the phone, am I playing on iPad? Pretty much everything should be the same. It's just kind of like you have to get used to whatever device you're playing on. But yeah, I do record my videos on Nox Emulator, which is like a phone emulator that's on the computer. But enough of that. So I got a new mouse, won't make a ton of clicking sounds, and let's get into this Xbow deck. So this deck, originally I was going to play the version that had like archers, knight, ice spirit, skeleton, log, fireball, Xbow, and maybe one other, and Tesla. But it was like I could get 12 wins with it, and it was okay, but it's just like it's really hard to play unless you've like 100% mastered the deck, and you have to play really defensive, and it kind of gets boring. But this deck, I think it's just better overall. You can be more aggressive with it and get a lot better results. It's similar to the Xbow deck from the last meta, which had Mega Minion and Ice Wizard and like Rocket. But I did swap out a few cards just to better counter. Like I put in Guards to counter the Prince, Executioner just because it has more DPS than an Ice Wizard, and Knight is to counter like the Royale Ghost, and the Fireball is for like all the flying machine decks that have been going around, because otherwise it can put you in a really awkward situation. So I'm currently 8-1 in a grand challenge, and we'll get into this video. So I'd say I'm pretty good at Xbow. I've played a lot of it. I think it's one of the better decks in the meta. I've tried, well, not in this meta necessarily, but it's always like there always ends up being a good Xbow deck, so I've tried to just master it so that I always have kind of a deck to fall back on whenever there's a new meta. So I didn't really want to start off with anything in that situation. I could have started off with something, but I don't know, there's really no reason to. I was just going to wait a little bit. Probably don't want to wait till double elixir to start off with this deck, but sometimes you can wait like maybe half a minute or so. Okay, so he has this deck, which is an interesting deck, and I really like to play defensive Xbow in this meta because there are a lot of Spear Goblin Huts, and like versus Princess or versus Bait, if you try to go aggressive with your Xbows, then a lot of times they'll be able to take out your Xbow pretty easily, or just draw out the game. So really the only way to break through like a log bait deck is using defensive Xbows. So yeah, that's a good tip for you. And if you're versing like a Spirit Golem Hut, I would also recommend setting up defensive Xbows. And also versus Golem. Pretty much every deck in this meta, you gotta be using defensive Xbows. So he goes Prince in the back. So interesting, he has a log. But those should still be able to kill his Prince, and I'll use a tornado here to kill the Prince. Hopefully he doesn't get a charge. It does not. And right now I'm just kind of going to be waiting for a double elixir to set up my attack. I'll defend that. Kind of a terrible log. I took my hand off the screen, so I was a little bit slow. But I'll just defend this, and I am probably going to need to get a defensive Xbow to set up. Otherwise, I won't be able to break through his defense. So I'll just set up my defensive Xbow now. It's going to put him in an awkward situation. He doesn't have a big spell, so I don't have to worry too much about that. Let's see. I'll just go ahead and log that, and then trying to cycle back to another Xbow here. Nice. I'll go Xbow in this lane now that I have the defensive Xbow set up, and it should be able to either break through or get pretty close. Okay, I will log that princess, and I'll go ahead and just kind of throw out some cards, try to get this Xbow live. Doesn't look like it's going to break through. Oh, it did get some damage on his tower. I didn't even notice that. That is really nice. I could have played my log there, but I cycled to it too slowly, so the goblins would have got hit on the tower. So I'm going to have to set up another defensive Xbow here. A lot of times I try to get down one defensive Xbow, and then I will start, I'll like try to cycle back to another Xbow. So I wouldn't really, in a lot of situations, I would not recommend like playing your Xbow until you have a defensive Xbow set up. In a lot of metas, you can just play Xbow at the bridge, but with all the tanks in this meta, you really need to get your defensive Xbow going. And in this situation, I didn't have a defensive Xbow, but I did have troops counter pushing, so it was safe for me to throw in an Xbow there. It probably won't lock onto the tower, which is fine. I don't think I'll lose this match. Really, the only goal here is just that I've actually drawed this matchup like several times. So I'm just trying to be careful with that. And I'm going to have to set up another defensive Xbow here. It should be able to defend this pretty well. Looks like we get a nice defense. I think I'll have to play my execution here. That is, unfortunately, that hits the tower. A bit of a misplay from me. But now that I have my Xbow set up, I might be able to break through his defense. I'm just going to go ahead and fireball that. Just get some nice chip damage on his tower, and I'm hoping to maybe break through his defense on this push. It looks like he's going to get his prince going down, and uh-oh. Unfortunately, it kind of put me in an awkward situation there. So I'll just have to wait a second or two here. I'll go ahead and fireball that. And I might just fireball cycle him out at this point. But I will try to get maybe one more Xbow set up. Ooh, I wasn't really paying attention there. Unfortunately, that was a long barrel, and he kind of caught me off guard. But now he's getting too aggressive and overextending. So I should be able to set up an Xbow here and maybe finish off this game. Interesting. I am gonna log here. I have my tornado in case he plays like a goblin barrel, but I think that should be able to finish off the tower and finish off the game. So good game. So yeah, the key in that matchup is just you gotta play your defensive Xbows. Otherwise, you will not be able to break through his defense. I've tried just breaking through his defense the old-fashioned way, and it doesn't work out. But setting up the defensive Xbow puts him in a really awkward situation, and can end up winning you the game. Also against like the faster Xbow cycle with rocket, defensive Xbows also can put them in an awkward situation because they have to rocket your Xbow or they can rocket the tower, and if they rocket the tower, then you can cycle back to another Xbow really quick, and then you'll have an Xbow in defense that's supporting your Xbow, so a lot of times you can get a lot of damage on the tower. So he goes with Spear Golem Hut, so I'll just set up my defensive Xbow and snipe it from this side of the bridge. I don't know, some people can make the argument that Xbow is not that much fun to play, but it is fun to know that like you're outplaying people, because in this meta, Xbow is just not that good, or it is good, but you have to you have to outplay your opponents if you want to be successful with it. So I'm just gonna cycle troops in the back here. And that should defend that pretty well. I think I'll just throw my guards same lane. And oh dang, I misplayed that. So now I am going to play my Fireball because I do want to get an Xbow up here pretty soon. And I have an Executioner in the lane already, so it would kind of just be a waste to throw an Xbow in the back at this point. I'm looking to set up an Xbow pretty soon here, but actually he might not have Mega Knight because he has Knight in his deck, and usually when you have a Knight in your deck, you don't also have Mega Knight. But I'm not going to get too aggressive, just going to play it patiently. Don't want to overcommit or do anything dumb. I think I will play a Tornado here. Pretty much just so I don't have to throw an Xbow right in front of that Inferno Dragon and get it and end up getting it instantly evaporated. He does have Mega Knight, a little bit unfortunate. I thought he wouldn't have it because he had Knight in his deck, but we'll see if we can get a lock on the tower anyway. I think the Xbow might be able to get off a few hits unless he blocks it or uses Zap. It's still going to get off a few hits, so this is a good situation for us. We're just throwing Ice Spirit at the bridge just to chip. And now I'm going to start, now there's double elixir, I'm going to start fireballing his Spirit Golem hut and see if I can get a lock on. So I'll just log that out. Not really much else in my hand to defend that. And he does have Mega Knight, so I'm going to be careful about playing my Xbow right in front of the Executioner because he could just Mega Knight right on top of the Executioner and then get a lot of value also killing my Xbow. It looks like he does go aggressive. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to use my Knight here to block, so I won't have it for his Mega Knight, which is not the best situation, but it looks like he's not even going to play his Mega Knight anyway. If he doesn't play his Mega Knight, that's going to be really good for me. So we get a lot of damage on the tower, and also since he's played his Spirit Golem hut in like the back left, which wasn't really the best move, it gave me a good opening for the Xbow. So now I think I can set up another Xbow. I'm going to just kind of ignore that and just log it as soon as it hits the ground or whatever. And it looks like we get a lock on his tower. I'll just play that there just to block anything else he plays and also to kill those minions. It looks like we might have this game in the bag, but I will be careful not to lose it. Not going to go too aggressive and just like start fireball cycling them out. We're not that close quite yet, so I don't want to do anything dumb. I will have to fireball that, and I think that Mega Knight might get a hit on his tower, but now that I could afford to sacrifice a little bit of damage, and so that's exactly what I did. I'm going to have my fireball ready because that Xbow is not gonna lock onto the tower. A little bit unfortunate, but I'm going to try to cycle back to another Xbow pretty soon here. Okay, I might just have to start fireball cycling him. I'm just gonna throw a fireball because I have an elixir advantage, and at this point, I don't think he's gonna break through. It's just gonna be a matter of finishing off his tower. He has a good little bit of damage. I'm just gonna throw another Xbow. I'm going to throw a defensive Xbow, and I think I can just fireball cycle him out at this point. His offense is not too good, and I'm not having any trouble defending it, so I'll just play, you know, not the most fun way to play, but it's a way to play, and it works, so not going to argue with it. I will use guards here. Unfortunately, he actually might be able to poison me out, so I'm going to have to cycle really quick here. Interesting. I'll have to log that. I need to get one more log to finish out the tower, and wow. I think this is going to be a really close game. He played this pretty well, but I think this fireball should be able to finish out the game. So a good game. And to be honest, a lot of games end up being pretty close like this one. I probably sacrificed a little bit more damage than I should have on my tower. Should have played a little bit more defensive, but I don't know. It was just kind of get boring, like waiting for that game to end. So I sacrificed a little bit of tower damage, and I ended up taking the game. So we're going up against Xammo, and I will not start off with an Xbow. The only situation I would say, well, in this meta, starting off with an Xbow is just not that good. In a lot of metas, you can just start off with an Xbow, and like if you are in a meta that does not have a lot of tank decks, I would say you can start off with an Xbow, and then not support it too much, just kind of see what your opponent does. But in this meta, since there's so many tanks, starting off with an Xbow can result in you getting punished really hard. So I would not recommend doing that. I am just going to wait here. I don't want to use an Xbow quite yet because he has Goblin Gang and he has just a lot of troops that can distract my Xbow. So I don't want to end up getting counter pushed and losing this game too early. He does use Princess. I could set up defensive Xbow, but I don't know. Both an Executioner and a defensive Xbow would work in this situation. I'll just choose to go with the Executioner. Not really too much of a reason. Just kind of what I felt like doing. And I'll play my guards there just to counter that Prince. I will have to fireball that, unfortunately. Oh wow. I'm gonna try to activate my King Tower here, which ends up working out just fine. And now that I have my King Tower activated, I can potentially even like ignore one of his Goblin Barrels and be able to set up like a bigger Xbow push. But I don't think I'll have to worry about that too much. Yay. Ooh. Gotcha. Well played by him. I do have the counter in this matchup. I just have to be careful about how I play it. I don't know. I'm kind of going back against my own words. You can play defensive Xbows to win this, and you can also probably win it without playing defensive Xbows. It really just kind of is what you feel like doing. But I think I can win this without playing defensive Xbows, so I'm just going to try to do it that way. So he plays his Prince, and I'll play my Fireball there. Get some nice value, and that's probably going to lock on the tower. Yep. I will log that. Even though I need log for his Goblin Barrel, I have Tornado, so it's not too big of a deal. And unfortunately, I missed my Tornado. He might try to play a Princess here. He does not. I am just going to Fireball that. And then try to get an Xbow set up here. I could play Xbow, but he has so many troops that it would just pretty much get evaporated instantly. I will play Tornado. And hopefully that Prince doesn't lock on. I think that Goblin Barrel is a little bit long. And yeah, I'm gonna have to set up defensive Xbow. So I was trying doing this without defensive Xbow, but it's not working out too well. And it's able to get past my defense pretty well, or gets past my offense pretty well, I should say. I'll have to distract that Ghost. And I'll get my Xbow set up right now. As you can tell, I really wasn't... I broke through his defense once, but I think eventually he would just overwhelm me. So I'm going to get that Xbow set up. Unfortunately, I didn't get my guards down in time. I could have played them, but they were just coming out too slow out of my hand. I'll Fireball that Princess, and if I had enough elixir to play an Xbow here, I would, but I don't, so I'm not going to. I'll set up another defensive Xbow. Just gonna keep playing this slow. I have my log ready for his Goblin Barrel, and there we go. I'll sacrifice a little bit of damage on my tower, kind of evening up the towers, and now I might be able to get an Exo push off. I'm gonna set up my knight, and this time I'm gonna kind of save Fireball for whatever he drops. I can get some nice Fireball value, and that's exactly what I do. Ooh, he plays a predictive log, doesn't end up working, and hopefully, nope, I do not get the knight down in time, so he gets my Expo down. This guy's playing the matchup pretty well. I think that, I don't have anything to distract that Prince, so unfortunately, I also missed my log. Terrible play by me. I think I might have lost this game. Unless this Expo can lock on here. Let's see. This is kind of an all or nothing push at this point. Uh-oh. Oh, wow. Well, I lost that game. I definitely made a... Oh, man, he played that well. I kind of played that terribly. I should have definitely gone way more defensive Xbows. I tried to win it without defensive Xbow, and that's just why, yeah, as you can see, Xbow's kind of... It's hard to play, but it's viable. I should have won that, but yeah, unfortunately I messed up. So lesson learned, against that deck, only play defensive Xbows. Okay, so let's see, I'll wait for his starting move. I'll play an Xbow to snipe that. And then I'll just kind of see what he does. Most decks that have Goblin Hut also have like Mega Knight, so I'll have to be careful to only have my Knight in cycle when I play the Xbow. I will have to use my Knight to defend this. What do you even call it? The Royal Ghost. I kind of remember what it was called for a second there. Okay, he has Prince. He does not have the Mega Knight version, which is actually good for me. So I'll throw an Executioner out here just to defend that because I don't think it'd be enough to kill that without it. And I'll throw an Ice Spirit here. Maybe. Just to freeze that for a second. And I'll throw out another Xbow to snipe that. I'm just kind of going to wait for a double elixir. I need to kind of get like a lot of troops to support my Xbow with this deck because it's more of an expensive Xbow deck. Can't really be throwing at Xbows without a lot of troops to support it. He poisons. So now if it were a double elixir, well, I would try to cycle to another Xbow here, but my cycle is just so slow that it wouldn't end up working out. So I'm just going to have to cycle cards in the back and just kind of defend. As soon as double elixir hits, I'll be able to get more aggressive and potentially get some damage on his tower and hopefully win the game. Interesting. I'm going to tornado this to the opposite lane. Not much else I could have done in that situation. Kind of a waste of elixir, but otherwise he would have got a lot of damage from my tower, so it's really my only option. Now that it's double elixir, I'm going to try to get this Xbow set up. I'll fireball that just so it doesn't block my Xbow too much, and now I'll be able to play my guards here. It looks like he's gonna go with Skeleton Barrel. He does. So I'll just defend that with Executioner, which is actually a really good counter to Skeleton Barrel. I will play an Xbow here, even though he has that Prince coming down the lane. I'm gonna try to cycle to my guards and hopefully get a lock on the tower. Doesn't look like it. I will play my Executioner in the left here because I'm thinking about switching lanes. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to switch lanes. Unfortunately, he has a log here. Otherwise, he's going to get too much damage on my tower. I missed that Ice Spirit a little bit. Okay, I think that the Executioner hit should kill most of that Skeleton Barrel, so not too much to worry about. And he just wasted his poison, so I'm going to go in with an Xbow. I'm not sure what got all the damage on my tower. I didn't even notice. Wow. But hopefully this can break through right here. Maybe. It doesn't look like it. I think I'm going to have to switch lanes. Otherwise, he's just going to poison cycle me out. I will use an Ice Spirit there just so it doesn't get too much damage on my tower. And I'm going to throw an Xbow in the left lane now. And because he had such a big damage lead on the tower, it was really my only option in that situation. So I'll just save my log here for that Skeleton Barrel. And hopefully I can get a lock on the tower. Maybe. I'll use my tornado there. And yep, it looks like I did get a lock on the tower. A lot of times switching lane with an Xbow can end up winning you the game, and it looks like in this situation that's what's going to happen. So good game, because a lot of the best way to defend Xbow is to like put down a tank and then poison it. But a lot of times when you switch lanes, people don't want to commit their poison because they have so much damage on the other tower, and it can end up putting them in a really awkward situation and putting you in a really good situation. So we have 11 wins, and let's go for that 12 win. Oh! This is one of my clanmates. I'm kind of clanless right now, but this is I'm usually in Sandstorm Pro. I'll just give him a little laugh because I know him. He's gonna throw out a good game. So guards are a pretty good card to cycle. I prefer not to cycle my knight just in case he has Royal Ghost or something. Otherwise, I won't have anything else to defend it. I could use a tornado to activate my king tower, so I might do that. But considering my next card is Xbow, I'm gonna wait a second here. Man, I want to throw a log, but if he has skeleton barrel, that's just gonna put me in such an awkward situation. I think I will go with knight in the back. Honestly, like, I probably should just wait there, but I was kind of getting bored, so I'll just go with a knight. And I'll go with an Xbow just because he's not really doing anything, and he just spent his miner, which is one of the better counters to Xbow. So maybe I can get a lock on the tower here. Okay, he does go with poison, so that Xbow's not going to get too much damage. I will continue to support it. It might get a little bit of a lock on the tower. It does not because he zaps it, but that's fine. The situation is not too bad. And yeah, it looks like we're pretty even right now. I'll just log his tower. He might have skeleton barrel, so might not have been the best log. Looks like he does have skeleton barrel. And now I'm just going to defensive Xbow. I'll play the Xbow up one tile just to make sure it pulls the skeleton barrel. I'm not sure if it would have pulled it if it was down another tile. Hopefully I can, yep, I do get the block, so that is very nice. And now that it's double elixir, I can go more aggressive and hopefully get a lock on his tower. So we'll see what he does. He plays his Royal Ghost. Unfortunately, I don't have Knight for his Mega Knight. But since he's going to commit so much elixir in the other lane, I'm going to go with the Xbow and see if I can maybe even cycle back to another Knight. This guy's a very good player, so... Ooh. Oh, wow. Unfortunately, I was hoping my Executioner would block that, but it didn't. I'll play an Xbow because I have troops counter pushing. Hopefully I can get the guards to block that. I do not, so it probably won't get too much damage on the tower. It does get a little bit of damage, which is always nice. And I'm going to take this opportunity to activate my King Tower because it can, and this is going to end up being a good play. I'll play my Knight, same lane as that Royal Ghost. I might even set up a defensive Xbow here. I will because he has 10 elixir and I have 10 elixir, so I don't want to go too aggressive with my Xbow and end up losing this game. I'm just kind of playing it safe. No, like, rhyme or reason. Well, there's kind of a reason, just because we were both on 10 elixir and I don't want to end up losing the game by doing something dumb. So I'm gonna, he doesn't have anything I really need to save my fireball for, so I'm just gonna throw out a fireball there. And nice. I'll be able to use my tornado here and get a lot of value on it. This is actually what I'm gonna do. And now that I have an Executioner counter pushing, I'll throw out my Xbow. He'll probably Mega Knight right on top of that. Ooh, he plays his Mega Knight a little bit farther back, which is a smart thing to do. Nice. He's playing this very well. I'll log just to take care of that skeleton barrel, and I might be able to get the game. At this point, I can just pretty much fireball cycle him out, and there we go. So, good game, well played, and we get the 12 win. Oh, he's not happy. Yeah, this guy is one of my teammates from like Mel, and I don't think he plays RPL, but Mel is like a competitive Clash Royale league. So we get the 12 win, going against some decks that I don't know if I'd really consider them counter decks, but normally I would say these decks counter Xbow, but just because of my Execution and Tornado, I don't know, it's a hard matchup. I don't really know who has the advantage, to be honest with you. But I do know that if you don't play defensive Xbow, then you'll end up losing every single game. So that's, if I had to give like my #1 tip for playing Xbow, use defensive Xbow in hard matchups. Versus Hog Rider, you don't necessarily have to use a defensive Xbow, but versus any hard matchup, it's an amazing play to do. So we get that 12 win, and I mean that's about it. I would say this is currently my favorite Xbow deck in the meta. It's the only one that I've been able to get consistent 12 wins with, and I do recommend playing it. Yeah, other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you need to do, and that's about it. VULKan out.